Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Blue Corner, and today we are just going to be going over the new starter deck that just came out, Xyz Symphony, and yeah, I'm just going to give you guys a quick review of the new cards in it. We already know what most of the stuff in here is. It's pretty much just a revamp of the starter deck from last year, but with like different cards. I will say though, before I open this thing up, that the box art itself looks pretty damn neat. I mean, you got Utopia with his number 39 on it in the background, you got Yuma and Astral, and it's kind of funny that they mentioned the new guys from the anime when, you know, the stuff that happened with 4Kids just the other day, kind of giving up the license. Who knows where the future of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime is. I will say, though, that if we don't get any more dubbed episodes as a result of this, you can say goodbye to any possibility of World Championship 2012 coming over here, and Tag Force 7 and so forth. But, yeah, I'm just going to cut out of here as I open this up, and we'll get right down to the nitty-gritty. Okay, so the starter deck itself comes with a reprint of number 39 Utopia, because he is impossible to get right now. Furthermore, we also get some other reprints that I guess are alright. The notable ones being Alexandrite Dragon as a common, because again, this is hard to find. Cyber Dragon as a common, because he's also hard to find. And then you got a couple one-ofs, Reap, Rhoda, MST, Burden, Fissure, and Draining Shield. Actually, this is not a bad choice. I haven't been able to find very many copies of that card. But, yeah. So, you got Utopia, and actually, no, look at it. Is it me, or is the entire card itself like foil? Neat. But yeah, so you got another Utopia. But what we're getting this for are the Dins. There are 4 of them, and they all have some interesting effects. First off, we got this guy. During the damage step. Oh, by the way, his name is Muzurithm the Stringin. His effect is, during the damage step, when a Din Xyz monster you control is attacking an opponent's monster, you can detach one Xyz material from this card, and that attacking monster's attack is doubled until the end phase. This guy's effect can only be used once per turn. So, he's kind of meant to work with the other Dins, but I can kind of just see him being used as just a standalone guy. He's there for when you need a quick means of getting out over your opponent's monster, but you don't want to make Acid Golem. You could just Xyz summon into this guy, attack an opponent's big monster, he goes to 3,000 for that turn, and problem solved. So basically he's kind of like a revenge killer in the Pokemon terms. I mean, he does work with the other guys, and there are Dins with higher attack than him, but more often than not, though, as a rank 3, there's just so much better. You got Leviathan Dragon, Leviair, Acid Golem already, and if you've got it, Zenmaines. Good try, though. Tempo the Percussion Din. His effect, well, first he's Earth 1700 rank 3, that one was Wind 1500 rank 3. So his effect is, once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach one Xyz material from this card to target one Xyz monster your opponent controls, detach one Xyz material from that monster, and all face-up Din Xyz monsters you control gain 500 attack. It's a nifty effect. You get him on the field, and immediately, if you're facing down like another Xyz monster, you can use guy's effect. He becomes 2200, and it's a permanent boost. And then on your opponent's turn, you can pump him up again, and he becomes 27. But kind of seems like a lot of work when you can just simply summon this guy, make him 3000 while trying to kill that other Xyz monster. Problem solved. And with less hassle. Not really digging that guy. This one is Mellow Melody the Brass Din. And the effect is, once per turn, you can detach an Xyz material from this card to target one Din Xyz monster you control. During this turn, that monster can battle twice. An on-spot double attacker isn't too bad. Attack's a little low, though. I was kind of hoping for a bit more. I mean, hell, Daigusto Phoenix is 1500, and he's a rank 2. Shouldn't have been too hard to make this 1600. You could combine it with some of the other Dins, but more, again though, there are just better rank 3s to make, and even as a light rank 3, Giga Brilliant outshines this guy. Literally. Ooh, bad pun, I know, but still. Yeah, I think this is like the worst one of the bunch, even though the effect is pretty decent. However, now let's just get to the one that everyone is actually concerned about, and that is Maestroke the Symphony Din. This is the rank 4 in here. He's 1823, and he's generic. So that already gives him a little bit of a bonus, and his effect is an ignition effect. And before I even read this, I just want to say, how many generic rank 4 Xyz monsters do we have that have an ignition effect that you want to use? Yeah, exactly. I mean, as far as generic rank 4s with ignition effects that you can even use, you've got Wind Up Zenmeister, but all everyone uses him for is as a beat stick. So once you use his effect, he loses his ability to beat over big monsters. This guy actually has a better effect, and the effect is, once per turn, you can detach an Xyz material from this card to target one face-up attack position monster your opponent controls, put it face down. And the other effect is, when the Xyz monster you control would be destroyed, you can attach no material from this guy instead. So he's got the Gachi Kentetsu preservation ability right on the spot, so it'll take at least 3 attacks to kill this thing if you haven't used his materials at all. And his defense is 2300, so it'll take most rank 4s to kill this guy, such as a Logia, but he does at least hold the fort against Cyber Dragons and so forth. But the really good thing about this guy is his ability to basically book any monster with 1790 at defense or less and just run it over. Unfortunately, a lot of the big monsters right now happen to have more than 2000 defense. You got Logia, of course, this guy would be negated. It's Stardust and so forth. I mean, we're kind of in a game where a lot of the big boss monsters happen to have pretty decent defense, but there are guys though that have less than 1800 defense. This can beat over. You got Xian, you've got Dolka, you've got Light Pulsar Dragon, Dark Flare Dragon, so he can get over a lot of things. And the other aspect about this guy that I noticed is that all these guys, first off, are fiends, which means they're all compatible with Gates of the Dark World. This is especially true with this guy, as he becomes 2100, 2600 under Gates, allowing him to actually kill much bigger monsters than he normally could through his Tsukiyomi-like effect. And a 2600 wall that you have to kill multiple times just to get it off the field is pretty irritating. Lastly, if all of these guys ever die, then you can just remove them for Gates of the Dark World to get your discard effects going. So I do think that they might be good techs in a Dark World deck, especially if you can't afford Zenmaids and you're running a budget version like mine where you put out multiple Beiges. This is something you can actually see summon into when you've got a field of 2 Beiges and you don't have a Grapha in the graveyard, or you don't, yeah. Then you can just simply summon this guy, it's 2100, so you can beat over that Utopia or that Stardust that's sitting on the field. So in the end, what do I think of this? It's alright. It's nowhere near like last year's starter deck where it was the first thing of its kind with Xyz monsters and we didn't have anything else. It also wasn't like last year where it was the only way you could get Utopia and get Gachi Gentetsu for the decks that needed them. And as a result, you kind of don't need this as much as you did the other one. You can just get the one, since you're just buying this for the Djinn Xyz monsters and Utopia. The other cards in here aren't really that noteworthy. It's pretty much a rehash of last year's starter deck, but without Mirror Force, which in itself I thought was pretty interesting to see Mirror Force go from being a highly touted staple to starter deck print. And I was kind of hoping we would have gotten something like that here too, i.e. in the form of Heavy Storm, or Dark Hole, or Monster Reborn. Kind of like the original starter decks. But I digress. It's a good buy. Just get the one. That's all you need. Or even just trade for the Djinn monsters. I don't know what deck's going to be using them. Maestroke, though, I do see getting some play, as there are just simply decks out there that have space in their extras, but don't really know what to run. Just put this guy in alongside Utopia. You never know when you'll find yourself making this thing. And his effect to get over bigger monsters is something that you should not underestimate, because there are a lot of things out there with less than 1790 defense. And that's it. So thank you guys for watching. Until the next time, take care.